Hi and welcome to my channel. I am now in Namibia and this video is gonna be about what papers do you need in order to travel with a vehicle over land borders. So traveling over land borders is significantly different from traveling with an airplane. When you go to a website, let's say the foreign ministry for my country, the information that you will find there relates to people flying into the country. It can be really difficult to find information about what is needed to cross land borders, which borders are open and which papers are needed, etc. So I'm gonna give you a short overview here today about what kind of papers do you need. I have lined it up here. So these papers all relate to me as a person in order to cross a border. These documents here relate to my right to drive my vehicle. And these papers are all the papers that are related to get your vehicle across the border. Let's start with you as a person. In order to cross a border, you need a passport. And that passport usually has to have minimum 6 months of expiry still. It usually also has to have minimum 2 empty pages. If you don't have that, you might be refused access when you arrive in the country and you're forced to fly back, unless you can get a hold of an embassy. There was a situation just recently, an American family got stuck in an airport in South Africa because the mom only had 1 page left in her passport, and that was not accepted. I do carry 2 passports because I'm going to be crossing a lot of borders. It's not so easy to get that in my country, but you can. As an exception, you can, and I had to try like 5 times before they gave me one. Unfortunately, you can of course never give a copy of your passport. With all the other things that I'm going to show you, it's actually just copies. I never ever give out the original, but with the passport you have to do it. So just make sure that you don't leave your passport. Don't give it to the reception in a hotel, then to pick it up the next day. No, make sure you get your passport in your hand right away. In some countries you can get just a tourist access of 3 months and you don't really need a real visa. You will just get a stamp in your passport and it will say how much time you get in that country. Just note that just because on their official website it says that you get 3 months, it's not a guarantee that you will get 3 months. It is up for that border officer to decide whether he believes that you, for example, have the funds to travel for 3 months, so he can decide how much time you get at the border. So sometimes you need to get a visa in your home country to travel to another country. That is really a problem for me because I'm on the road, so I'm not able to go to the embassy in my own country. But then there usually will be the option of maybe 1-2 other countries where you can also get the visa, and then you have to travel to that country. That's all like a huge maze of where to get the visas. If the country offers an e-visa, this is a print of an e-visa for Angola, then what you do is you go to the website where you enter the application, you fill in a lot of information, and then you upload photos of documents. That is your passport, hotel bookings, a photo of you, etc. If they approve your visa application, they will send you this document and you print it out, and together with prints of all the other documents that you submitted in the application, you go to the border and then they will make the actual visa. Just note that not all borders can process e-visa. So for example, for Angola, there was only 1 border that would be able to process the visa. So some people make the mistake that they think, oh, I got the e-visa, so I can just go to any border. But no, that's not the case. This is an example of a normal tourist stamp. I arrived in the airport of South Africa on the 2nd of November 2021, and it says here that it was valid until the 31st of January 2022. So it's of course important to note that date. If the date is not put in the passport, then make sure to ask the immigration officer. The next example is a visa on arrival. This is Mozambique. They make visa on arrival. And I just covered the important information, and you can see that they made a photo at the counter. The next I want to show you is the Angola visa, where they make this at the border, but it's already processed. So this photo here is the photo that I sent to them, and it's in their system, and all they do is they print it out and they put it in your passport, and then you pay at the border. This is an invitational letter that I got from a person in Angola. So I just had a contact there. I asked him, could you please make an invitational letter for me? And that can sometimes really help getting into some countries. They usually want the name, address, telephone number, ID number of that person, as well as your name, ID number, contact person, or contact number, etc. I have my birth certificate. I am just covering it here so you don't see the information. I carry that in several copies as well. I have not had the need yet to show it anywhere, or did I in Morocco? I don't remember now, but it's good to have it with you. Then there is the vaccination certificates. I have 3 different. Some countries require yellow fever, COVID of course, and it depends on the country you're going, what vaccinations they require. Then I always carry some extra photos of myself for different applications, and then of course I have my social security card here. This is for Europe. Then let's move on to the next part, which is the proof that you have a right to drive a vehicle. This is my driver's license, EU driver's license, and I just want to show you that I never give this one away. I have made a few copies of it. I've just covered the information here. They are laminated color copies. I've never had a question about the validity of these ones. On top of that, I have 2 international driver's licenses, and that is because there are 2 conventions. One is for the countries listed here inside. You cannot read it because it's really small. So that's one convention, and the other is for a number of other countries. Please note that these only last 1 year. So when you have these made, if you can get the person who make them to not put in the date, then you can add the date when you need it. The thing is that I actually never need this. I haven't shown this even once yet, so I don't really know how important they actually are. But there's always that one country where they want this. So let's move on to the third thing. That's all about your vehicle. The most important thing is of course the registration paper of your vehicle. Have copies of this and never ever give out the original. I've only had one question out of the 31 countries that I've been through now. Only one questioned whether this was the original, and I just said yes, it's the original. It's a nice color copy, and don't lose your original. If you lose it, you are in real trouble. There was a guy from Germany. He crossed into Turkey recently. He gave his paper to the customs officer, and the customs officer was kind of dealing with several cars, several vehicles at one time, and he mixed up the papers. So he gave his license paper to a car that took off, and then he was standing there with the wrong registration paper. He had to leave his bike there, flew home, got a new one, and flew back. So don't lose this one, guys. There is something called a international driver's certificate. It's a document that basically translates this one into all the languages. You open here, and then you can go to any, Arabic language, and then whoever officer then has a translation of it. I have also never had anyone asking me for this one. In this case, the person who made it for me actually forgot to put in the date. This is also only valid 1 year. So I can just keep it forever until I need it, and then I can fill in the date. I also carry an extra number plate. This is a fake one. This would be a problem if I used it in Denmark, because the police in Denmark is super strict. But everywhere else, should I lose my number plate, I can just put this one on instead. It's not such a huge problem if you lose your number plate. You can basically just write the number on a piece of cardboard and put it on. When I traveled from Alaska to Argentina, I just made a really thick laminated color copy of the number plate and put it on the bike, and then carried the original in my bag. I never ever had a question about it. In some countries, the police might use it as an excuse to get some money out of you, and I'm sure that borders like Sudan and Egypt, it would be a bit of a problem if you didn't have a license plate. When it comes to crossing borders with a vehicle, you have to think of it as you are importing a product, and you are importing a very expensive product that would normally cause you to have to pay import fees, taxes, etc. In order to get your vehicle over a border outside Europe, because of course in Europe you can just travel everywhere. We have a customs union, so you don't have to worry about it. But outside Europe, you have to either temporarily import your bike or use a carnet de passage. Temporary import permit is basically a documentation that you are now importing this vehicle, and that you will take it with you when you leave the country. You will usually get 3 months or 6 months. In Morocco I got 6 months, but that really depends on the country. Some countries only process temporary import permits. Some countries only want the carnet, and some countries you can actually choose. So it depends. Angola did not even want to look at the carnet. They only do temporary import permits. In the whole of Americas, you do not need a carnet at all. You can also travel all the way down the west coast of Africa without a carnet, but some countries, I believe it's Kenya, you have to have one. If you don't take your vehicle out when your temporary import permit is over, you can get fined really badly. There was a couple recently, they got a fine in Tanzania for $7,000 US. I think they managed in the end to get out of it and paying just $2,000 US, but just imagine $2,000 US, that's a shitload of money. It goes in general, don't overstay your permit in your passport, your visa. Don't overstay your temporary import permit. Let's talk about this document here. This document is needed for some countries, and basically what it is, it's an insurance for those countries that you are not gonna sell your vehicle or leave your vehicle in that country. You can say basically the same thing as a temporary import permit, but in this case, oh, there's a doggy. In this case, they have a money guarantee, because you have to put in a deposit that is related to the value of your bike. So in my case, I paid 3,000 euro as a deposit for this document, and I paid 300 euros for having this document made for me. I had it made at ADAC in Germany. They have an agreement with Denmark that they process carnets for Danish citizens. For other countries, you might have your own office that handles this, and if you have any questions, I recommend that you just call them. They basically work as an insurance company, and they like customers. They are really friendly, they're service-minded, and they will help you with any question that you might have. But they will also like to sell you this one. So for example, if you go to ADAC's website and you look at Africa, like where is it needed in Africa, they will put in there that you need it for some West African countries. But that is not the truth. You can in fact travel all the way down Western Africa without a carnet at the moment. But who knows, these things change all the time. So let's say I take my motorcycle to South Africa and then I just sell it there. Then obviously I should have paid import fees and taxes for the motorcycle. And maybe there are even restrictions on which motorcycles can you even import, etc. I know for my country, Denmark, there are very, very strict regulations on what vehicles you can import to the country. So this document here is an insurance that if you just dump your vehicle there or you sell it or anything, then that country can contact ADAC and they will get the money that you have paid for a deposit. So let's look inside this document. There is a number of similar pages with the same information about your vehicle, and there are 3 sections on each page. There is one section, this is the lower part, that is related to your entry of the country, and this little slip here the customs officer will keep. The next slip here is one that he will keep when you leave the country. And then in the top here, there's a little slip that you keep. There's a stamp for your entry and there's a stamp for your exit. Don't stress too much if you get to a border and they don't know how to deal with this. I get sometimes to a border and the customs officer has never seen this before and he doesn't know what to do with it. In that case, don't stress too much about it, because in the end, what is really important is that you bring your vehicle back to whatever country you are from, in my case, back to Denmark, and that I get a piece of paper from the police proving that I brought back my vehicle. In that case, ADAC, who made this one for me in Germany, they will refund the deposit to me. Then I just want to talk about insurance. For some countries, you have to buy insurance when you get in. It will always just be third-party liability, which means if you cause damage to someone else, then you are insured. In some countries like South Africa, that is covered in the road tax. In here, this is for Zambia, I believe. You pay for an insurance. And just be a little bit skeptical about the prices. Like this guy, he tried to sell me one for 500 kwacha. Actually, the price for a motorcycle was 165 kwacha. So I managed to get the right price in the end. It's always a good idea to ask at the border, do I need insurance or not? There are some countries like Colombia where if you don't have insurance, the police will take your bike or your vehicle from you. In some countries like Namibia, you have to pay a road tax like this one, and you have to actually show it when you leave the country to just prove that you paid the road tax. It might seem a little bit overwhelming, but it is not so hard. Just think of it as there's something related to you crossing the border, then there's something related to your vehicle crossing the border, and then there is proof that you have the right to drive that vehicle. And then I can really recommend to use social media. Both Facebook and WhatsApp specifically is really, really good for specific countries. There is, for example, a Facebook group called Drive Nam for Namibia, Drive Ang for Angola, Drive Sam for Zambia, Drive Sim for Zimbabwe, etc. And in these groups, you can ask questions about specific borders, specific fees. I can also recommend to use the app called Overlander, where people will write about the borders and they will tell you about their experiences, where to go, what to pay, what to avoid, etc. Yeah, that's all I had to share with you guys today. I do get a lot of questions about these things, so I just thought I would sum up today and share all this. If I forgot anything, then please add to the comments and share with everybody else. If you enjoyed this video, then please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a little comment. You know, I really enjoy that. And also note that I have a playlist that is called How To, where I do how-to videos on all kinds of things, how to pack, how to fix a flat tire, etc. And I will add this video to that playlist. You can see it there. See you in the next video. Ciao!